Hi everybody, welcome to ZealZaddy. We stream tabletop RPGs and board games. Tomorrow, for instance, we're going to be doing 2 RPGs. We're going to do at 1 o'clock Crosscodes, which is an Esper Genesis, which campaign that's D&D 5e sci-fi. It's not Shadowrun, it's not Orcs in Space. It's a little more thoughtful than that. It's sort of a cross between The Expanse on the more hard sci-fi end and Star Wars on the other end. And then later that evening at 6 o'clock, this is Eastern time, we'll be doing Zealots of Zool, which is a D&D Sword and Sorcery campaign, 5e Sword and Sorcery campaign that my partner in ZealZaddy, Cliff Dunn, runs. Today, we're going to unbox Tapestry by Stone Maier Games. Now, Tapestry is a pretty hefty piece of game, so I'm kind of excited to open it and show it to you. I bought it about a week ago, and I've been chomping at the bit to open it because I've heard so many good things about it. I've heard it has beautiful painted miniatures and all that. There's some really unusual things just on the box that you'll see in a moment. Stone Maier Games, by the way, makes the Spectacular Wingspan, which is won over my heart. It's become one of my favorite games. It's currently my favorite game to play when I get together with friends or anything like that. Also, they make Scythe and Viticulture, 2 terrific games also. Now, Wingspan, I just did an unboxing of the European expansion. Very cool. Stone Maier Games, and that I have to give them so much credit for something they do. Their build quality of their games is just off the charts sometimes. Really beautifully thought through, beautifully made. The boxes are high quality. The pieces in them are thick, well-made pieces. There's very little that you could pick at as far as quality of the build. Play, if it's the type of game you love to play, they are very smart about it. I do think that if there's one criticism that I would have about some of their games is their rules explanations tend to be very technical, and it makes it very hard for you to get into the game and just start playing. They do some things that are, for instance, Wingspan was written by an ornithologist. That's a bird scientist. And it feels a little bit like it was written by an ornithologist. So from that perspective, there's some things that seem a little bit like maybe they could use some quick start guides or some things like Wingspan, for instance, is a very simple game. It's really a production line from right to left. But there's not a really good explanation in it for that. They try and detail it out too much to get you started. So that said, this game has real heft to it. It's a big box. It runs $99, $100, and it has the heft to command the price tag when you pick it up. So let's get to the unboxing. That's what we're here for, right? So this is Tapestry, and the first thing I want to point out is something that I think is very interesting. Right here, sorry, I have dogs. Sorry, there was somebody at the door. Amazon Prime, but not a game, so it's not cool. This is the most interesting thing I've seen on a game to date and on a box. This is the printing number, sort of like an art print would do, where if you've ever bought art prints, they're numbered. And they're numbered based on when they came off the press, when they're being printed. And the reason they do that is because the quality of the print degrades over the time that they're made. I don't suspect there's any degradation in this, but what I do suspect is that they're trying to show that this is a first printing limited edition. That on the next printing, maybe there will be some changes, maybe there'll be a slight quality degrade or something, who knows. But that was a very interesting touch. I'm very interested in seeing what this means for the next run, if there's a next run. Maybe they won't sell all 25,000, or they'll sell all 25,000, not think there's a second print that needs to be done, in which case it becomes a limited edition 25,000 run altogether. So let's get the shrink wrap off. So Tapestry is a big box. This is a heavy, heavy box. It's not filled with bricks, but you can definitely tell there's some real meat to this thing. Let me get this off. It comes off slowly and carefully. It says on the side of the box that it's 1 to 5 player, ages 12 plus. In my house, it's about 9 plus, and 90 to 120 minutes. So that's pretty typical for a game of this type. The card stock is pretty thick. I think Wingspan was the same weight. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's thicker than a lot of games. It's not the thickest. I've seen some that were thicker. I'm going to set this aside so you won't see it anymore. So in here, let's see what we're going to see. First thing we see is the rules. This is actually a setup guide, not the rules themselves, I think. Slide this over a little bit. Actually, I'll slide it the other way. Keep it on screen well, so you know what you're seeing. Then reference guides. I think these are for each player. Oh, maybe not. Probably on each ends of the table. They're identical, so these are reference guides you'd keep with you, near you, that you'd go to here and there. Tapestry Automata. This is the rules for solo play. So if you want to play, honestly, I never play games solo, so I wouldn't even know where to go with that, except to say if you do enjoy it, it seems pretty cool. Shadow Empire variant. So there's a variant card here that adds some kind of variance. Maybe a lot of times with these games, what they'll do is they'll do a variant that brings more complex rules or rules that make it more aggressive. Have you? This is something that they always give you plenty of plastic for you to hold all your pieces in. It's well done, beautiful. Thank you, Stone Maier. We appreciate that as gamers. The next thing it looks like are player character cards or something along those lines, or character types or archetypes. So this is a pretty good number of cards. Sorry, I keep going the other way. So you can see there's a pretty good number here. There is the Alchemists. They're all one-sided. This is really nice paper, by the way. Yeah, I don't think it's paper, actually. I think it's a type of, it's printed on, but I think it's actually a plastic so that it'll resist water. Or it's some kind of a very high, this is definitely a plastic back. It's either print that has been duplex, that is glued onto a plastic substrate, or it's some kind of an interesting synthetic paper. Futurists, it looks like these each have their own special powers. Isolationists, mystics, architects, heralds, leaders. And you can see that it looks like there's descriptions of their special powers, and I guess this is who you play. You're this civilization. Nomads, craftsmen, historians, merrymakers, the chosen, that sounds dangerous, entertainers, inventors, militants, and traders. And you can see on the bottom, every one of them has different explanations. So my suspicion is, and I haven't played it, so I don't know, is that each one of these has special benefits for you as a player that you get to pick from or are randomly chosen. Nice thing is that you have a big plastic for them to all go in already. Sorry, I'm kind of a picky game person. Oh, some cards. Once again, they used cards with the little stripe like playing deck cards to make it easier to open them. If I can get it started. And it didn't go all the way. So. I wonder if this will tell me what each of these items are on the rules. I'm going to turn this upside down for a moment. Nope. No setup. Nothing explaining the pieces that I can see. That's too bad. So these cards, it looks like they are technology cards. Yep, barns, lithium-ion batteries, calendar, clocks. If you ever played Sid Meier's Civilization, you'll know the idea of the technology track. It looks like this may use something similar to that. These, very interesting, are not that. It looks like these give you benefits based on certain things, or you play them to do something. Handout. Okay, see, they're all different. You can see each one is different. So there's some kind of play benefit. It shows you where on the board you can play it, or where it would come from. The board, we'll get to that in a moment. And this looks like something to track how you play, or it looks like explanations for these. Benefits, normal benefits, conquer, neutral, what have you. And then these look like, if you've ever played Agricola, this looks like what I'm about to open is very similar to what they did in Agricola, which was certain personalities give you benefits to your culture. And that Agricola has like a massive stack of cards in it. That when I love Agricola, that is it's both its strength and its weakness. It can be an overwhelming number of cards. You rarely end up with the same things twice in a game for a long time. Now these look like, yeah, I think I'm right about these. Academia, or maybe it's Pursuits, Age of Discovery, Age of Sales. So this looks like it's time frames, things that are happening in the world. I don't know if they're done in order. Maybe you advance them quickly. Colonialism, diplomacy, empiricism. But I will say that once again, these cards are very much like good quality professional playing cards. Science, technology. Level 3, level 1, probably backs, yep, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, explorers, conquerors. I guess this tells you what you should be trying to do. Okay, interesting. Some interesting dice. Look at these. These are custom-made dice. Wow, the disrespected D12 has made a showing. Looks like these show different technology tracks or social like tracks. I don't know if that's a mushroom or a mushroom cloud. People or soldiers, money, stars. And this looks like government. Anytime you see that wreath around things, it looks like it's some kind of government-related thing. These are well-made dice. They have nice weight to them. They roll well. They're a good quality build. The resin or whatever they're made from is good and hefty. I've seen some games that weren't so well done, where the dice were kind of poorly done. Not at Stone Maier. So there's some more shrink wrap in here for some more parts. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Looks like there's a lot of little pieces to this, which you would expect for a $100 game that you'd have enough pieces like that. All right, these look like mountain, wetland. So these are environs, tropical, desert, grassland, and forest. These are once again that same kind of material. Whatever that material is, it's beautiful. It's really like, it feels weighty, but it's also flexible. You can bend it. I really do think it's a plastic fake paper. These are not knockouts. These are something that you use as a track. So technology track, military, exploration, and science. Then you have Looks like these are individual player boards, which is definitely something that Stone Maier Games does a lot with their games, is they give you your own board. There's 5, so I'm assuming everyone gets one of the 5. They are identical, it looks like. Let's see, are they identical? Yes. Yeah, they're identical. Bottoms, sides. Yep. So these are looks like your player boards. Once again, that terrific material. It has even a nice feel. It takes the color well. The color doesn't, it stays in good shape. Then on top of that, then they have some kind of another track for probably a group track of some kind of data. Oh, interesting. So then there are in the hexagons of terrain. These are front and backed. I don't know if the backs mean anything yet, but they are beautifully printed. You can see there are symbols on the middles of a lot of these. On all of them, actually. I don't know if it's all of them everywhere. They punch beautifully, so the punches are terrific. I'm not going to punch them all right now. I'll do them after the stream so you can see them. So the rest of the board. And then this looks like the board itself. This is a hefty, weighty board. It has real weight to it. It's really thick. I don't think you can see how thick that is, but that's thick. And it folds down. It looks like there's a gameplay area on both sides, probably a beginner and then an advanced game. Let me flip it over real quick. So this would be, I guess, the larger one that's more complicated. You can see there's hexes printed on them that look like the places you can add things. Like the land expands as you explore, I suspect. It's beautifully made. The tracks are 4, 3, 2. Interesting. I'm excited to play this. It's gonna be. And then this is what everyone has told me, that this is where all the real interesting stuff happens. That this has beautiful build, and that these are hand painted minis that are part of the game. Move the box itself for a moment. The bottom of the box. So I can open this. It's taped. Taped on all sides. Yes. Taped 4 sides. Went to the trouble of making sure that it stayed taped, which is good. Pieces don't go flying out from flipping the box. This has gotten a little bit of discoloration from being up against, pressure on it from the other materials. So in here, these are different types of buildings of different, wow, these are beautiful. I don't know if they're hand painted, but they sure look it. I suspected it with a run of 25,000 that are numbered that they probably are. But that's the benefit of buying it at this point. You get these nice hand painted ones. Maybe the next print run they'll be plastic and simpler and not quite so fancy. These look like they're all handcrafted too, which would be amazing for 25,000 of these to be done. I'm sure they're not, but maybe the originals were. Fantastic. These are beautiful looking pieces. I mean, look at that. I don't know which camera to point to yet. Look at that. It's really interesting. Little buildings of different types. I love it. I have a feeling it'll look like a model railroad set by the time you're done. You'd be looking at a science fiction town, like factories and barns and towers, lighthouses. It looks like here, maybe religious buildings or strongholds. This looks like with that kind of a gate, like a wooden gate on it. It's probably some kind of a stronghold. I love it. Well done, Stone Maier. Then there's the other pieces. Let's see what these are made of. Looks like there's one for each player, and then a group one of some kind. Okay, so these are a plastic or a resin. There's little little towery buildings and cubes. Cubes are kind of the thing that they use all the time as little markers. So in Stone Maier Games, they use them a lot. So it's kind of a thing of theirs. These are a different cube, though, than in Wingspan. These are very science fiction-y or futuristic-y. They're like a shiny plastic, or shiny resin or plastic, whatever they're made of. I think they're just a plastic. But they're a weighty plastic, too. There's some real heft to even these. Feel like they have some density. They look like they will hold up well and stand up well. So I'm impressed again. I keep being impressed, and I can't stress enough how impressive Stone Maier's games are. They really do. They put in the effort that you wish every game company would do. And today, many companies do. I mean, there's a lot more. The build quality of games now is so good because of Kickstarter and the ability to do smaller runs, higher quality. I mean, it's put board games into a renaissance, which is, for us game players, is the most beautiful thing that could have happened. More pieces. These look like they're made out of the same material as those. And then over here, there are what look to be, are these the same color? These are different colors, so maybe these are ones that are generic or represent group functions or something. I don't really know yet since I haven't played it. But I will be playing it soon, and I will stream a game in January. I'm not exactly sure when, but sometime in January, I'm going to do another board game stream, probably with our friends over at Babes and Board Games. You can see some of their videos on YouTube, but this is a game that I've been wanting to play for a while, and I'm really excited about getting it and finally having a chance to pull it together. The materials, the build of this game, just terrific all around. What you would expect from a game that costs $100. I mean, this is, when you're paying for a $100 game, this is what you should expect. This is a really well-built game. The board is really like solid. Even the rounding corners, that is not a cheap function. That's a thing that takes, you have to consider doing this and go, it's worth the extra 60 cents per game to do it, per corner, or whatever the number is. These pieces, they're beautifully punched. They will pop out very easily. The dice, these custom dice, really nicely made. They roll well. They feel balanced. Sometimes they don't feel balanced. These feel right. They roll well. I think it's interesting there's a D12. That's kind of, the overlooked, in D&D, that's the overlooked dice, the one that gets like no love. The cards are high quality. Every piece in here feels like it was made to make you feel good about a $100 drop for a board game. Now, the beautiful thing to me is a $100 board game, if you play it 100 times, it means you paid $1 per play. And we play board games all the time. There are games that we've played hundreds of times. Catan comes to mind. It's been a while, but Euphrates and Tigris we used to play a lot. Cleopatra and the Society of Architects. Not hundreds, but we've probably played it dozens. Most games get dozens of plays if they're a good game by us. When there's ones that we really love, like I'm really loving Splendor right now. I love Istanbul. Those games are going to get a lot of play from me. I also like games that I can play with family that aren't as intricate or as complicated. This game is a little bit too complicated for some of that, but I think we'll see once we play. But Wingspan, if it was written a little bit better, would have been a very easy game to introduce to almost anybody. It's simple enough. It's fun. It's fast. I have a feeling that this is going to be simpler than it looks because Stone Maier games really are pretty simple to play. A lifetime to master kind of thing, like what was that? Pente, I think, had that. A minute to play, a lifetime to master, what have you. So this has been our unboxing of Tapestry, a civilization game by Stone Maier Games. I really hope you go out and take a look at it. Maybe go to the Adventure Game Store in Davie if you're in the area. And we play board games there all the time. There's always people playing games, role-playing games, board games, card games, what have you. But particularly, there's definitely an emphasis on board and RPGs. They have probably the best stock of a store in South Florida as far as board games and RPGs, and they have things that are really old to really the newest pieces. I tend to buy from my local game store when I can. I think you should support local businesses. What's the difference of $1 or $2 when you can support your friends staying in business and then be in a place where you can play these games all the time? So thank you for coming and enjoying the stream with me and the unboxing. I will do a playthrough at some point in January. Have a really wonderful Christmas. I hope to see you tomorrow when we're playing Crosscodes and Zelda of Zool. Until then, happy gaming. Tabletop Games Love is our moniker because that's what we do. We love tabletop games. I will speak with you later.